Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, KGeekXX Chic, and we are back with another review to The Walking Dead. This is for episode 23, which was called Family. A lot happened in this episode, but particularly in the last 20 minutes or so, we really kind of ramped up towards what is going to be a very interesting conclusion in our finale. I think the main things that stood out to me was Judith. You know, she's been narrating all of the episodes, at least the beginning of the episodes, since we got back from the last hiatus, and it seems like it came to a bit of a culmination point in this episode with her quite literally taking a bullet for Daryl, who's effectively been her father in this last, well, I don't even know, they haven't really talked about how long Michonne's been gone, but you know, Daryl's pretty much been there for her as a father figure since Rick left, so it's fitting that she would try to save him and prioritize protecting him in a situation where she thinks he might have, you know, died or gotten hurt. This episode we saw that Rick's group was regrouping, splitting up, basically the majority heading back to the Commonwealth to basically end things, you know, to stop Pamela from being able to continue to pursue them and hurt their people, but also to find out where the kids might be, because, you know, they still don't know where the younger children were placed, because Coco, of course, is just a baby, so it looks like some of the older kids were put at the first location, and then, of course, we don't know where the babies ended up. So the Alexandrians decided to go back, prepared for war, and thankfully they had help on the inside because Mercer, which I forgot to mention in the reaction, but yeah, Mercer has decided to join the cause because his conscience was pricking him a little too hard between, you know, Princess basically telling him that he was on the wrong side and then his sister being like, would our parents really be proud of us right now? You know, or proud of you, you know, to be standing up for what you know is wrong. So yeah, that was helpful to a degree. But unfortunately, as I said, Pamela's not an idiot. She hung out with the likes of Hornsby for a long time. And I'm sure she picked up on a lot of the shadier ways that people think and the way things go. And sadly, Mercer's kind of always been a very strategic person, a very loyal and obedient person. So I think she could very quickly recognize when he did something that was not understandable, I guess you could say. And that's how she figured out almost immediately that he was helping out the resistance, as it were. So also the fact that his excuses were weak. Yeah, I don't know Eugene escaped. That's weird. What? Like, I think he kind of knew that Pamela was going to be onto him, but I think he thought that he would have time on his side. But of course he didn't realize that Pamela had her backup plan of the Horde to break up citizens and to, you know, keep everybody under control. And of course that just kind of threw a monkey wrench into things that he wasn't anticipating. Then we had the situation where with Judith, actually, I think was interesting, the throwback of Judith talking about, you know, bringing out Michonne's charter that she had worked on so many seasons, again with her dream of getting all the communities to work together democratically, not being forced like the Commonwealth is doing, and establishing a peace where it's not necessarily like we have to take over you have to take over us, we got to fight for everything, like let's do this the way we used to in the past, where everybody came to an agreement that served everybody. Like, little does she know, as young as she is, that even in our times right now, even though we're living in a fairly democratic world, there is still very much corruption and not everybody's getting the best out of all these deals. But anyway, we just had a lot of throwbacks to what Michonne and Rick talked about before they left, and her just saying like now she's really thinking about that. She's thinking about her family, her mother, her father, her late brother, and just kind of thinking about the kind of person and world that she wants to live in going forward and what she wants to fight for. And so she wanted to go and be a part of it, and she wanted to go with the group. And, you know, truthfully, you know, Judith isn't really a liability like that, you know, on missions anymore. We know that she can shoot, she can use that sword, she can use a knife, she's pretty wily, she knows when to be quiet. It's sad to say she was definitely bred as a warrior in this world, so that's why, you know, both that and the epic guilt trip that she gave Carol and Daryl, like there was no reason not to let her come along. Interesting though that they brought that up. And of course RJ getting Rick's hat, I was a little bit worried about that, because whenever that hat's been passed to somebody, usually the person who passed it doesn't make it, right? So if you think about it, like Rick gave the hat to Carl, and even though Rick didn't die first, but you know, Carl passed the hat off to Judith, and then he died shortly after, and then now she passed the hat to RJ, and now she's fatally shot. So, well, I shouldn't say fatally, she could be fatally shot. So yeah, it's interesting. It could be a foreshadow. We'll see. As I said, I would really hope that the writers would not be dumb enough to kill off another child of Rick's. Like, yes, I know it's Shane's baby, but still, for all intents and purposes, that's Rick and Michonne's first child. And yeah, they've already killed off Carl, which a lot of us agree was a very poor decision. So I hope that they don't do that with Judith as well. I don't think it'd be a death that made any sense, much like Carl's death. But I have a feeling she's going to be okay, because at least she got shot in a place where there is ample medical supplies and doctors. So I think she'll be okay. But that, even how she got shot, having Pamela be the one to do it after, within hours of losing her son. Days, I guess you could say. I don't think Pamela's a monster per se, like she definitely has dark sides. She's a politician. You saw that she was willing to sacrifice the poor for the rich. Like, she definitely is corrupted, but that doesn't mean that she's completely evil. She definitely had emotions, and I think she is still emotionally dealing with the death of her kid, but I don't think she ever thought in a million years that she would be the person to put a bullet through a child. And so you could see, like, it really did pierce her to her core, right? Because even people who do things like Pamela did, even that last minute decision to divert all the dead to the poor sections and protect the rich, in her mind, she still doesn't consider that to make her a bad person. She thinks that's just a political decision that you make. She doesn't think she's the kind of person that would hurt a child, right? That's bad. And that's not Pamela, right? She's not a bad person. So you could see the moral dilemma on her face when she realized what she had done. And of course, her trying to shift blame, saying it was because they had caused the situation to make her do that, which is sadly very Hornsby of her. But anyway, that mental break for her, I think, is going to be advantageous to our group, because she was already on the edge, but I think that's really what's going to be the breaking point. I don't think she's going to get Judith's face out of her head anytime soon. And because of where Judith is going to get her treatment, a lot of the people, the poor people who have had to deal with this mess that Pamela's created now for them, when they see that she's the person who did this to a child, it's going to, the fire's going to be too hot to even stand near, let alone put out. So Pamela's end is very near as a ruler. Whether or not her life is at an end soon, we don't know. We'll have to see whether or not they choose to let her live. But it was very interesting. A lot of moral decisions in this episode. A lot of people having to make some moral decisions. And I was glad to see that Mercer stuck to his and protected his men as much as he could. But yeah, the climbing walkers. Now everybody knows that they exist. It's sad that Aaron didn't get a chance to warn everybody. And Jerry's in the wind. But now they all know. Walkers climb now. They're stealth. We're at like ambush walkers, ninja walkers. They finally have arrived. So now they know they can't just rely on walls anymore. Walls aren't good enough. You need to, I don't even know, like I can open doors too. So they're gonna have to find a new way to deal with these guys. Much more World War Z actually more World War Z type zombies, I'd say. I was gonna say like Last of Us, but Last of Us zombies are still very bumbly. They don't really have fine motor skills. But anyway, outside of that, we saw that Lydia lost an arm. She got bitten. She's now part of the one-armed crew. Her and Aaron, both people have had to lose a limb to save their lives. And interesting that, we've had two characters on The Walking Dead go through that, when Rick was the person in the comics who went through it. She really wants to save her newfound boyfriend, and she felt really bad about leaving, them behind. And so we see that Jerry decided to go and look for them. And I think this is because he felt a little bad about being the one who had to hack her arm off. I mean, he knew it had to be done, but it doesn't make it any easier. It's a terrible thing to have to do to anybody. But Jerry's also just that guy, right? He's just such a sweetheart. And he's the guy who, like, if no one else will do it, he will. And I hate it because they've been kind of teasing the idea that Jerry may not make it for a few episodes now. And I'm not liking it because I love Jerry. I don't know. I'm hoping, praying that they don't kill him. I know it sounds cold, but if I got to pick between him and Lydia, like, bye, Lydia. Like, bless Lydia, she's a sweet girl, but Jerry's got 3 kids and a wife. Like, we need Jerry. We need very, very, very badly. It's not that we don't need Lydia, but you know what I'm saying? If I gotta choose. Anyway, let's hope he's okay. We see that 2 of the people from the mob made it back. We didn't see Elijah, though. We didn't see Elijah. So I'm not sure. We didn't see Jerry. So I don't know. I'm hoping we don't lose one of them. Like I said, it's Walking Dead tradition. We're going to lose somebody. I know that, but I'm really hoping it's not Jerry. That would be really hurtful. But yeah, we saw that the episode basically ended on a giant fustercluck. The dead are everywhere. They're being funneled into the poor areas with people who are untrained, unarmed, don't even live in places that are that secure. And Pamela's, of course, saving her own ass. But I think that the last of the military that were loyal to her, now seeing these orders, are probably going to be very shaky on continuing to protect her and the rich for no reason. So like I said, it's all rolling up to that culmination point of what it's going to take to overthrow her. And we'll have to see what happens, because now all that's really left is finding the babies and, of course, getting some type of control in the city. I mean, I think for the most part, Commonwealth is not going to be the same. That's a lot of dead. That was a big herd that Pamela funneled in there. And yeah, a lot of your best fighters are either gone or now been taken out by these climbers. So we'll have to see how it goes. We'll have to see how they wrap this up and like 1 episode left, which is crazy. So my guess is we're going to probably wrap up a lot of it in the first half as far as all the, the horde and getting control back of the city. And then we're going to see how it all ends, like where everyone's going to end up, where the mindsets are going to go, how we're going to proceed. Because as I said, for a few episodes now, I do think that the Commonwealth is still going to be a center for people. And I do think there's going to be a vacuum once Pamela's gone that's going to be filled by someone. My guess is probably someone like Yumiko. But yeah, what's going to happen to everybody else? Where are we going to go? How are we going to go forward? Because I just don't think our group's going to stay all together anymore. I think there's going to be too many options and too many things to do and too many things to accomplish. And as I mentioned, I don't think we randomly brought up the charter of Michonne's and everything like that for nothing. So I am very much looking forward to seeing how we're going to wrap up this whole series. Like I said, bittersweet. I think it's the right time, but at the same time, it's crazy to think that there will not be another Walking Dead season next year. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you give this video a thumbs up, and we will see you in the next video.